a former Fresno police detective, was arrested last month for stealing $60,000 from the department's evidence room. This is, believe it or bullshit. Ray Medeles, a 10-year veteran of the force and member of the major narcotics team, faces 2 counts of grand theft and 2 counts of preparing false documentary evidence following a joint investigation by the FBI and California Department of Justice. The 37-year-old checked out the cash without proper authorization in May of 2024 and was fired 1 month later. He was arrested October 9th. According to Fresno Police Chief Mindy Casto, the theft was discovered when the department noticed Medeles had checked out $60,000 from their evidence room. It was very suspicious to us, to the point we believe criminal conduct may be involved, Casto explained. The department immediately contacted federal authorities. Medeles appeared in court October 23rd, entered a plea of not guilty, and was released on $30,000 bail. His next court date is scheduled for December 15th. Here's how this actually unfolded. The scheme began in 2023, when search warrants were executed at local residences as part of narcotics investigations. At the first location, approximately $30,000 in cash was seized and booked into the evidence room. No charges were filed against the targets. No forfeiture proceedings were initiated. The money sat in evidence. Medeles, as the detective on the case, had legitimate access to the evidence room. He signed the cash out. On the paperwork, he documented that he was returning the money to the suspects. He did not return the money to the suspects. He kept it. In 2024, a second search warrant was executed. Another $30,000 was seized. Another residence, another narcotics case. The money was booked into evidence. Again, no charges were filed. Again, no forfeiture proceedings were commenced. And again, Medeles signed the cash out of the evidence room with documentation stating he was returning it to the suspects. According to the California Attorney General's office, that's when the pattern became clear. Medeles had stolen over $60,000 using the exact same method twice. Same falsified records, same bullshit excuse, same outcome. The Fresno Police Department discovered the missing funds in May 2024. Chief Casto described the moment they realized what had happened. He had checked out $60,000 cash from our evidence room without proper authorization, she said. The department didn't handle this one internally. They called the FBI immediately, suspecting the theft might be part of a larger problem. The FBI launched a federal investigation. The department simultaneously conducted an administrative review. 1 month later, in June 2024, Medeles was terminated from the force. The criminal investigation continued for 4 more months before the arrest. California Attorney General Rob Bonta announced the charges in October. California peace officers have a duty to protect the public and uphold the public trust, Bonta said in a statement. Individuals who abuse that trust for personal gain violate their duty to the people and the law. FBI Sacramento Special Agent in Charge Sid Patel added his own observation about the case. Law enforcement officers hold immense authority, and any abuse of that power will be met with decisive action, Patel explained. He commended the Fresno Police Department for immediately reporting their concerns rather than attempting to handle it quietly. Chief Casto addressed the obvious question about public trust. As chief of the Fresno Police Department, I am deeply troubled by the former detective's conduct and its impact on the trust we strive to build with our community, she said. She was quick to emphasize that when the department discovered the theft, they acted swiftly. While this arrest is not a proud moment for our department, I want to reassure the public that we take swift and decisive action when serious misconduct is discovered. She repeated one phrase multiple times in her statements: no one is above the law. The department is now reviewing every case Medeles worked on during his 10-year career. According to ABC 30 Fresno, legal analyst Tony Capozzi raised the inevitable concern. If this officer has taken money in this case, what has happened in the cases that he's been on before? The department has also made changes to prevent similar thefts. All detectives now wear body cameras. Audits of cash and drug evidence have been increased. Chief Casto confirmed that Medeles had been under an unrelated administrative investigation before the theft was discovered, though she declined to provide details about that matter. Medeles is also currently named as a defendant in 3 separate federal lawsuits filed by local business owners who allege he and other officers violated their civil rights between 2021 and 2023. The suits claim assault and improper seizure of money and business assets. The Fresno Police Department denies those allegations and has requested a trial date. Bail was set at $30,000. That's half of what he allegedly stole. That story's headed to the files. We've got one more for you tonight that'll round out the evening. Stay with us. Los Angeles Police Department officer was charged in April with tampering with evidence and stealing items during traffic stops. Alan Carrillo, a 31-year-old member of the LAPD's Mission Area Gang Enforcement Detail, faces 2 counts of altering, planting, or concealing evidence and 3 counts of petty theft. The charges stem from incidents between April and June of 2023. If convicted, Carrillo faces 7 years and 6 months in state prison. He was relieved of his police powers and booked on $100,000 bail. According to the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office, prosecutors allege Carrillo stole metal brass knuckles and knives from individuals during pedestrian and traffic stops, documented the items inconsistently in his reports, and the stolen property was never accounted for. District Attorney George Gascon announced the charges. The public's trust and the integrity of law enforcement are undermined when officers tamper with evidence and steal items from the public, Gascon said in a statement. LAPD Chief Dominic Choi added his own assessment. I am extremely concerned that an officer broke public trust and violated the fundamental principles of professional policing, and I will ensure there is accountability. Let's review the timeline. The case traces back to December 2022, when the Mission Area Gang Enforcement Detail conducted a traffic stop. The motorist filed a complaint with a neighboring division, claiming the officers were rude and had illegally searched her vehicle. An internal affairs detective assigned to investigate noticed discrepancies in the officers' accounts of the stop. The inquiry widened to include other stops carried out by members of the unit. Investigators discovered a pattern. Officers in the gang enforcement detail were intentionally failing to properly document traffic stops. They were failing to activate their body-worn cameras. Multiple encounters in violation of department policy. The FBI was brought in to investigate potential constitutional violations. On April 19, 2023, Carrillo conducted a pedestrian or traffic stop. He seized metal brass knuckles from an individual. He documented the seizure. The documentation was inconsistent. The brass knuckles were never properly accounted for. They disappeared. On June 15, 2023, Carrillo conducted another stop. He seized knives from another individual. Again, the documentation was inconsistent. Again, the items vanished. No evidence locker, no chain of custody, no return to the individuals, just gone. The internal affairs investigation continued through 2023 and into early 2024. The pattern became clear across the unit. Officers would conduct stops, seize contraband or personal items, document them poorly or not at all, and the items would disappear. Some officers turned on their body cameras only after significant portions of stops had already occurred. Some didn't turn them on at all. The investigation specifically targeted members of the Mission Area Gang Enforcement Detail. Carrillo, who joined the department in 2018, had been assigned to the gang unit. According to KTLA, the unit came under suspicion for a range of misconduct, including unlawful traffic stops in which items were taken from motorists. Sources indicated Carrillo was expected to be the first of several gang unit members charged in connection with the investigation. The Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office filed charges against Carrillo on April 18, 2024. 2 counts of evidence tampering. 3 counts of petty theft. The charging documents laid out the 2 specific incidents from 2023, the brass knuckles, the knives, the inconsistent documentation, the missing evidence. Carrillo was arrested and booked at the department's Valley Jail section. Bail was set at $100,000. He was relieved of his police powers pending the outcome of the administrative investigation. No arraignment date was set at the time of his arrest. The case remains pending. Chief Choi addressed the charges directly. The department will continue to fully cooperate with the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office in this matter, he said. District Attorney Gascon emphasized the broader principle at stake. Police officers are entrusted with upholding justice and protecting our communities, and any breach of that trust is unacceptable, Gascon said. Our office is committed to holding Mr. Carrillo accountable for his actions so we can restore the public's trust in law enforcement. The investigation also revealed the scope of the problem within the gang enforcement unit. Multiple officers, multiple stops, multiple failures to document, multiple failures to activate cameras. The pattern suggested coordination or at least a culture within the unit that tolerated these violations. One attorney representing a motorist stopped by officers in the unit told the Los Angeles Times that the officers' actions seemed coordinated. They turned on their body cameras simultaneously, but only after asking for the motorist's license several minutes after the stop began. Department policy requires officers to record the entirety of all public encounters. Carrillo's case is part of what prosecutors describe as a larger investigation into complaints concerning the conduct of officers assigned to the Mission Area Gang Enforcement Detail. The unit patrols the northern San Fernando Valley near the city of San Fernando. How many other officers will face charges remains unclear. How many stops were conducted improperly remains unclear. How much evidence disappeared remains unclear. The case is being investigated by the LAPD's Complaint Investigation Section, Internal Affairs Division, and Professional Standards Bureau. The FBI continues its parallel investigation into potential civil rights violations. The criminal case against Carrillo moves forward through the court system. That's where it stands with the LAPD. Both stories tonight centered on law enforcement officers who couldn't resist taking what wasn't theirs. A Fresno detective signing out $60,000 from his own evidence room. An LAPD officer pocketing brass knuckles and knives during street stops. Different cities, different circumstances, same fundamental betrayal of the badge, which raises a question worth considering. What's the stupidest decision you've seen someone make when they had everything to lose? Work situation, personal life, doesn't matter. Drop them in the comments. That's Believe It or Bullshit. Subscribe now. Someone somewhere is already planning our next episode.